Patty Craig on News 6.
KDLH-TV Duluth.
Come on and share it. CBS, oh yes.
Keeping business, jobs, and recreation. This is KBJR-TV, Superior Television for the port cities.
Good evening. News Center 6 headlines and features for Wednesday, the 6th of August. Hubert takes issue with Ford's energy policy. Slight overrun on Arena Annex. Antone ready to go, according to Junkert. Roy Harnish fiddles around with the antique cars. NBC Nightly News producer visits hometown. And tonight's commentary, a report from the north.
KBJR-TV presents News Center 6, brought to you by Northern City National Bank. This is the place to be. And by Minnesota Power and Light, the investor-owned People Company.
Good evening, everyone. In public appearances in Duluth last night and again today, Minnesota Senator Hubert Humphrey took issue with President Ford's energy policies. He said Congress will probably put an energy bill on the president's desk this fall, which he hopes will not be vetoed. Humphrey said the president's policy of decontrolling domestic oil prices is not good, and he gave these reasons.
Despite everything the administration says, it'll be felt immediately in the economy.
KDLH-TV Duluth. Live from the broadcast center, this is the weekend edition of KDLH News. Brought to you by your local Northland Ford dealer.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Ashland authorities have recovered the bodies of two snowmobilers who were drowned in the waters of icy Chequamegon Bay today.
The two men were described as being in their early 20s and from the St. Cloud area. They drowned when they drove their snowmobiles off a trail into unfrozen waters behind Ashland's power plant. The area is known as a hot pond and doesn't freeze because of hot waters discharged from the plant.
KDLH-TV Duluth. News for the 90s. Live from the broadcast center. This is Evening Edition with Darren Danielson, Debbie Desmond, Teresa Bryant, and Marsh Nelson.
A Duluth National Guard unit is on alert tonight for possible duty in support of the U.S. Armed Forces Operation Desert Shield. Good evening and thanks for joining us.
We'll have a live report from the Army National Guard in just a moment. But first, a bomb scare in downtown Duluth today called authorities to action this morning.
Boarded this helicopter tonight in Panama City. Noriega is finally in U.S. custody. Good evening. By midnight tonight, Manuel Noriega should be arriving at Homestead Air Force Base in southern Florida.
Vatican officials say Noriega voluntarily gave himself over to U.S. forces.
At the White House tonight, President Bush applauded the efforts to bring Noriega to justice. Good evening. I'm Michelle Lee. Coming up on News 6 at 6. Guilty on all charges. That's the jury's verdict on the trial of Lawrence Montanaro in Hibbing. Andy Skoogman is there, and we'll talk live with the prosecuting attorney. And we'll also tell you about a group of students who are making a large contribution to charity. Details next on News 6 at 6.
You're watching KBJR. The news starts now. News 6 with Michelle Lee, Carol Hall's weather, and Mike Hart with sports. Now, News 6 at 6.
Thanks for joining us. The jury returned this afternoon in Hibbing to find Lawrence ways to love the earth in an environmentally conscious way. Governor Arnie Carlson's budget has been blasted by northern Minnesota, but a growing movement of southern Minnesota farmers is upset as well. Dave Jench reports farmers feel victimized.
People you can count on. KBJR-TV.
Live from the broadcast center, this is the 10 o'clock KDLH News with the entire KDLH News team.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Kevin is off tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Michelle Lee.
I'm Duke Scorich. In the news tonight, a major Minnesota study could mean new jobs for the timber industry.
Environmentalists called for the study, worried the state was cutting too many trees. Results released today.
Good evening, I'm Liz Drummond. Tonight on News Channel 3, Duluth leaders look for a compromise on the city's proposed living wage ordinance. City councilors vote tonight on whether some businesses will be required to pay employees $7.25 an hour. We'll have the latest at 10.
And throughout our early Monday evening weather-wise, look for a few spotty showers, then partially clearing skies and some patchy fog developing. Overnight lows will fall down to the lower 60s with northwest winds at 5 to 10. That's your forecast. Stay with us here on News Channel 3.
Good evening. As city leaders in Duluth try to displace Duluth's dirty bookstore, the Wabasha makes plans to move on its own.
While the new location is being kept a secret, Channel 6 News has obtained the new address.
Adam A. reports some business owners were shocked when we told them about their future neighbor.
Plan the much talked about Soft Center and Technology Village. There's one thing that stands in their way: the Wabasha Adult Bookstore.
Exactly.
Actually, I think we have some Newfoundlands in this too.
I know. I can't wait. That's my favorite.
I know. You
event
always
of the
hog the
parade.
Newfoundland stuff. I know it.
Well, folks, it's time to say goodbye for News 6 at 6, but please stay tuned because the 39th annual Christmas City of the North Parade is coming your way in just minutes.
3 short minutes.
Men's clothing provided by Mainstream Fashions for Men in the heart of downtown Duluth. Closed captioning provided by Schneiderman's.
Heavy snow buildup can be damaging to a building's roof, and if left alone long enough, it can even cause a roof to collapse.
Live from the Northlands News Center, this is News Center at 10.
Charges have been filed against the suspect involved in a murder in Duluth Central Hillside. There's a new face taking the helm of Duluth Coast Guard Station. And a $1 million luxury resort in the Twin Ports opened its doors tonight. Your news starts now. Good evening, I'm Barbara Riles. Michelle Lee is off tonight. The suspect in the drug-related murder of Stanley Booty has been charged. Spency Walker was charged today in St. Louis County Court with 2 counts of second-degree murder. Booty
watching CBS 3. Northlands News Center. This is News Center Tonight.
The charge in Duluth's first murder case of the year is second-degree homicide. Bail for Spency Walker is $300,000. It's still nearly a year before the Polymet project is up and running, but officials toured the progress at the Hoyt Lakes facility today. And a child rapist faces the death penalty in Louisiana, even though the Supreme Court has ruled he can't be put to death. Good evening. The suspect in the drug-related murder of Stanley Booty has been charged. Spency Walker was charged today in St. Louis County Court with 2 counts of second-degree murder.
Covering the Twin Ports and the entire Northland. This is the KDLH-3 News at 6:30.
The Fond du Lac Reservation is buying up hundreds of acres of land in St. Louis County. Why and how the tribe is doing it. Plus, the Salvation Army needs your help. How you can help out the Northland organization in need. Plus, more snow to come. We'll have your winter weather forecast as it happens.
Hello everyone, I'm Nick Minock. Thanks for joining us this evening. The first snowfall in some parts of the Northland left beautiful blankets of snow in many parts of northern Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. What you need to know right now is that the high temperatures are turning this morning's snow into slush, which is causing some terrible driving conditions that are only going to get worse. Josh Shooter has been following this winter storm and how it impacts your commute for tonight's top story.
What began as a beautiful first snow for this year's Northland winter quickly took a turn.
This is the KDLH-3 News at 6:30.
Minnesota Republican leaders unveiled their plan on where the funding will come from to fix Minnesota's deteriorating roads and bridges. I'm Katie Anderson, and I'll have that story coming up.
As the Twin Ports shipping season begins, experts are expecting smooth sailing compared to last year. I'm Josh Shooter, and all the details coming up.
Are calling arson is now leaving, has now left this home uninhabitable. I'm Bryce Henry, and I'll have that story coming up.
Hello everyone, I'm Jennifer Welch. Thanks for joining us. A fire that neighbors say began with an explosion has caused extensive damage to a Duluth home. That's where we find Bryce Henry on the scene. First tonight at 6:30, and Bryce, do we know what caused this fire?
Well, Jen, at this time, we don't know what caused it, but police are saying that the fire was set intentionally, and they're now calling it arson.
KBJR-6 and Range 11 News today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jennifer Austin.
And I'm meteorologist Adam Lorch.
The weather outside, obviously not good right now. Adam, you're prepared right now to go out in it.
This is my serious hat and my serious gloves for serious weather.
Good. Well, I'm glad you got your serious hat on, because you're going to need it.
Yep, certainly do. Let's take a look outside of the weather window.
You're watching the KBJR-6 and Range 11 News today with Jennifer Austin, meteorologist Adam Lorch, and special reports from Barbara Riles. This is the KBJR-6 and Range 11 News today.
The snow and wind are making outside the last place anyone will want to be this morning, but that is exactly where we find our Bryce Henry. He's live near the intersection of Mesaba Avenue and Central Entrance in Duluth. Bryce, what's it looking like?
You're watching the KBJR-6 and Range 11 News at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Barbara Riles. Thanks for joining us. The Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, is in Duluth at this hour, speaking to members of law enforcement and representatives of Northland domestic abuse intervention programs. The Vice President touched down in Duluth this morning just before 11.
You're watching the KBJR-6 and Range 11 News at 6 with Michelle Lee, Kevin Jacobson, Chief Meteorologist Adam Clark, Zach Snyder, and special reports from Barbara Riles.
Most know it takes a variety of habits to maintain a healthy body and a healthy mind.
As Bryce Henry tells us, a new business in Ashland is combining fitness habits with social ones to create an environment that shapes overall health.
Now at 10.
It's going to hurt a lot to little people.
The days are numbered for the Duluth Mail Processing Center and 70 of its workers. Plus, an overnight fire in Carleton County leaves 32 people displaced. And health officials investigate a second flu-related death in Minnesota.
You're watching the KBJR-6 and Range 11 News at 10.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Jacobson.
And I'm Michelle Lee. We begin with breaking news out of West Duluth tonight. Duluth police are investigating a fatal stabbing at the Super One store on Bristol Street. This incident happened just before 8 o'clock.
And this is video from the scene from several hours ago.
In touch with the Northland. This is the KBJR-6 and Range 11 News at 10.
The gloves are off.
I received a lot of hate mail in my mailbox, a lot, saying goodbye, the end, Dyke.
Former UMD coaches sue for discrimination, their allegations and the chancellor's reaction. Red Planet, as scientists claim proof of water on Mars, a flood of new questions about our celestial neighbor. And after months of debate, the Duluth City Council is set to make a decision about bike lanes downtown. Good evening, I'm Michelle Lee.
And I'm Edward Moody. It's another packed City Council meeting in Duluth tonight as councilors take up the issue of installing protected bike lanes downtown.
Katie Anderson was at tonight's meeting. She joins us now from the newsroom with tonight's top story. And Katie, has a decision been made on where to put that bike lane?
Well, Michelle, actually not yet. As we speak, the council is still hearing from the public on the...
From CBS 3 Duluth, this is CBS 3 This Morning.
Kurdish forces are reportedly switching sides as Turkey ramps up its attacks against their forces. Plus, how Barron County has changed 1 year after the kidnapping of teenager Jamie Kloss. And thanks to the help of volunteers, the Bentleyville tree is up. The lights aren't far behind. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Leanne Valdez.
And I'm Austin Haskins. Thanks for joining us on this Monday, October 14th.
Yeah, October 14th. The days seem like they're just flying on by, getting closer and closer to Halloween.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm hoping it continues that way all the way until spring next year. Don't think we're really looking forward to that cold weather just yet.
Right now at 6, parking concerns near Duluth East High School have neighbors speaking out and city leaders responding. Plus, East the Twin Ports a hotbed for sex trafficking? A new study takes a closer look at the problem. And the verdict is in on a gruesome murder case in Itasca County.
From CBS 3 Duluth, this is the CBS 3 News at 6.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Edward Moody. Students in Duluth head back to school in just under 2 weeks. At East High School, where those students will be parking, has some residents concerned. CBS 3's Emma Reckenberg has details. Student parking could be problematic. Emma?
Well, if you're a junior or sophomore at East High, you won't get to park in the school lot. Those spots are reserved for...
Now, CBS 3 Sports with Barrett Anderson.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Corey Kaiser. Barrett Anderson is on assignment, so she'll be back here at 10. And talking about football, the Two Harbors football team couldn't wait for summer to be over and football season to begin. And tonight, their wish will finally be granted. The Agates will...
Tonight, on the eve of the impeachment vote, Duluth gathers to urge action from one of our local lawmakers.
And 1 year later, on the anniversary of a Superior landmark going up in flames, what firefighters say they've learned.
And later, cabin owners up the North Shore could soon have to reach further into their pockets as they are faced with potentially higher taxes.
From CBS 3 Duluth, this is the CBS 3 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Baki.
And I'm Anthony Matt. Thanks for joining us. We're on the eve of a historic vote in the United States House tomorrow.
After weeks of back and forth, House Democrats have decided to move forward and hold a vote on the impeachment of President Donald Trump tomorrow.
Well, it's here, the first big snowstorm of the year.
And we're live in Hibbing where the snow continues to fall and the roads are getting slipperier.
Plus, the hidden history behind the Christmas City theme song.
From KBJR-6, your weather authority, this is KBJR-6 Today.
Good morning, I'm Michael Raimondi.
I'm Jennifer Austin. Snow is falling in parts of the Northland this morning, and more is expected throughout the day.
You're watching KBJR-6 News Today with Cece Gaines, Ryan Half, and weather with meteorologist Adam Lorch on KBJR-6, your weather authority.
Welcome back to
Continuing to rain, cats and dogs again, and the lake just continues to rise.
Right now on new flooding frustrations. People on Pigeon Lake continue to deal with the effects of flooding. Plus, Wisconsin pardons issued. Governor Tony Evers hands out the state's first pardons in nearly a decade. And bear attacks in Duluth. Police are warning citizens to be bear aware after 2 dogs were attacked in the Duluth Heights neighborhood.
You're watching KBJR-6 News at noon on KBJR-6, your weather authority.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Ryan Half. CC Gaines has the afternoon off. For many years, residents living on Pigeon Lake in Wisconsin have struggled with high water and flooding, and members of the Bayfield Lake Group have attempted to get help from state and federal agencies, but with no success.
Right now at 5, new developments in the case of a Minneapolis daycare owner authorities say tried to hang a child left in her care. Plus, what went wrong, why it took so long to clear major roadways across the Iron Range following Friday's snow. And on this eve of Thanksgiving, what motorists need to know as they head out onto the highways for the long holiday weekend.
From KBJR-6, your weather authority, this is the KBJR-6 News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Michelle Lee.
And I'm Dan Wolf. Thanks for joining us. People all across the country are on the road tonight heading to their Thanksgiving destination.
Here now, a live look at our tower cam looking over downtown Duluth. The sun is setting and the rain and snow is starting to die down, which is very good news for motorists tonight.
You're watching the KBJR-6 News at 5 with Jesse Slater, Dan Wolf, and weather with Chief Meteorologist Adam Clark on KBJR-6, your weather authority.
President Trump is touting a...
Right now at 6, the DNR put down a bear they believe attacked 3 dogs in Duluth in the last week. Now advice to keep your home and pets safe from wildlife. Plus, a judge decided the future of a rundown Duluth landmark. What's next for Pastorette Terrace? And ahead of the November election, local candidates are facing off right now, who you can hear at a forum happening tonight.
From KBJR-6, your weather authority, this is the KBJR-6 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Dan Wolf.
And I'm Bonnie Bowman. Thanks for joining us. Right now at 10, on the eve of the House impeachment vote, tensions rise across the country, the local people taking part in a national vigil. Plus, justice restored, while the state is considering pardoning a crime that happened almost 100 years ago. And ticking time bomb, the effort by people in Sturgeon Lake to save their homes.
From KBJR-6, your weather authority, this is the KBJR-6 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Bonnie Bowman.
And I'm Dan Wolf. Thanks for joining us. A lot of news to get to tonight, but we begin with weather. For some in the Northland tonight, could be the coldest of the season so far.
You're watching the KBJR-6 News at 10 with Bonnie Bowman, Dan Wolf, sports with Matt Halverson, and weather with Chief Meteorologist Adam Clark on KBJR-6, your weather authority.
University of Minnesota officials.
KBJR Stereo 6.
For the most reliable, accurate news, tune to KDLH-TV Duluth. Weeknights at 6 and 10 and weekends at 10 p.m.